everybody, this week on Up Your Alley, we've got two great recommendations. First, Jake's recommendation for me, the Netflix original anime Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and my recommendation for Jake, the Netflix movie Under Paris. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some new releases for PlayStation and some new unreleases in the movie theaters. Jake, you got anything to add?
Yes, I'm happy.
Because we're back in the studio?
Yeah,
we're back in the studio. Let's play this song again. Just like old times.
Feels good.
Old times of a month and a half ago.
When we're sitting like this, it feels like it flows better.
Yeah, we were just having a conversation before I started recording. I was like, we probably should have been recording
we should have started it a while ago.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, everybody, welcome to Up Your Alley. My name is Taylor Edgar. With me, as always, is my best friend, Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
Hey, buddy.
We're recording this back in the studio. If it's your first time listening to the show, here's how it works. Jake and I are best friends. We recommend things to each other to play, read, listen to, whatever the state of media might be. And then we come back the next week to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 3. Jesus, I'm out of work. Yeah, I read the scoreboard up there. There's a 5 on it. 1 to 3 based on how much it is up our individual alleys. Again, we're talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners and Under Paris today. But first, we got some catching up to do. Jake, how you doing, bud?
Man, it's been good.
Feeling better? We had to. This definitely is coming out a little bit late. We're recording this Friday at 2:30.
Yeah,
and I'll put it up on YouTube shortly thereafter. So this is going to be the freshest of the podcast I think that we've ever done.
What a turnaround.
Yeah. Well, I got new internet here, so it should be uploading pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. I got, so out here where I live, I don't have any cables, so I have the T-Mobile 5G internet.
Yeah.
And they have a thing where it's a mesh adapter, because I got some new equipment down here, so it's pulling from the Wi-Fi a lot more. And I couldn't get my PlayStation to connect to the internet while like the TV was on or something like that. PlayStation Network would always just kick itself off because I guess PlayStation, from what I gathered from Reddit, which is never a great place to get information, it's the way PlayStation's Wi-Fi is set up is because they don't want to drag down online gaming. If it's a weak signal, it'll drop you faster than like a streaming service will or anything else. They'll just boot you off the network if your connection's not strong enough.
Yeah.
So I have the little mesh expander, which is down there, and then I hardwired the PlayStation to that mesh expander.
Yeah.
And it's working great.
There you go.
Everything's working out perfectly.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got your setup going on,
Been playing a couple nice games.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can kind of go into the PlayStation thing, but first, have you heard anything about the Plucky Squire?
Yes.
So I've been playing the Plucky Squire.
Great.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it looks great.
If you've never heard of it, the Plucky Squire, it's a somewhat 3D, somewhat top-down game. It's set in a storybook called The Plucky Squire. You play the Plucky Squire. His name is Jot, and it's just kind of a nice kid storybook that you're playing through, but then through magic and whatnot, you can get out of the storybook and kind of walk around the kid's desk where you are. Mm-hmm. And the whole impetus of the journey is the character that you are, you belong to this kid named Sam, and Sam's going to get inspired by the Plucky Squire book and become a great artist. So you need to fix the book because the evil wizard in the book is trying to ruin the ending so the hero doesn't win.
Okay.
And when you jump out into the world, you can turn the pages of the book, go to different scenes. You can pick up words that change the environment. So you'll be like, there's a big bug in the way. Yeah. And the bug's blocking your thing. But then you got to go find the word small and pick it up off the page and then drop it down and it changes.
It looks great.
The graphics on it are, I mean, it's not like super
It's just
detailed.
very imaginative.
It's very imaginative and it jumps in and out.
Yeah. The thing that it reminds me of is Paper Mario on the Switch.
A little bit.
Where the bosses are like real like art supplies. Mm-hmm. So they stand out because they're like real textured.
Right.
Where right next to the colorful world of Super Mario.
And it looks the way the motion goes when you're in the book world, I think the first game to do it really well was the South Park games that we talked about recently, the Fractured But Whole and the Stick of Truth. Yeah. Where it's that kind of animation that just moves seamlessly that makes you look like you're watching like a cartoon sort of thing. And it's just really cute. I recommend it's on PlayStation Plus right now. I stopped playing it because I got distracted by other games that have come out. Yeah. I'm probably about halfway through it. It's just really fun. If you've got a kid about learning to read age, 6, 7, something like that, and they're interested in video games, the combat's not super heavy. The combat is sort of like...
I heard that it's very hand-holdy.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game, it's one of those genres or games that's come out now. It's like people are making really good games directed towards children. It's like the video game industry now is kind of where Disney was 15 years ago, or Pixar. Like when they could be like, oh, we can make stuff that'll play to adults, but it's made quote unquote for kids.
Yeah, sure.
But as an adult, you can go see a Pixar movie and be like, this is a good movie. That's really fun. And then I started playing after the Sony State of Play that was earlier this week. They announced, I had not heard that this was coming, but it just dropped. They're like, hey, Pal World's on PlayStation now.
Yeah.
So I got Pal World for PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
I had played it on Xbox when it was still in its alpha phase or whatever it was, and it was crashing and you'd fall through the floor. Yeah. So it's my first time actually playing like a polished version of it. Have you played Pal World like at all?
Nah, I have no interest.
It's fun.
Yeah?
It's just really fun.
I'm happy scratching that itch for you, bud.
I mean, it was nice to get back into it, and there are some new pals that are in it, and like some space pals that come in, and you're just like, this is really nice. And that kind of goes I think it's funny they announced that because earlier in the week, or maybe it was late last week, it announced that Nintendo was suing the makers of Pal World.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting for Nintendo to do because it's not for a copyright infringement.
Yeah, what is it for again?
It's for patent violation.
Yes. Yeah.
So, as far as I watch a couple of YouTube videos with this. I'm not a patent lawyer, obviously, but obviously
I'm not. Edison. Yeah, I ain't no Edison. Yeah,
he wasn't a lawyer.
He worked at.
He was an inventor.
He worked at the patent office.
That was Einstein too.
Einstein worked there too? All right, Einstein.
Jesus Christ.
Guy who works at a patent office.
Edison killed elephants with electricity.
Now, that is wrong.
That's
the Edison Electric Company did. They're just named after it. I know so much about Topsy the elephant. I want to make a movie out of it.
Really?
Yes.
That'd be fascinating.
It's a tragic tale.
Really? The movie that ends with an elephant being electrocuted to death is a tragic movie?
You know how they got the elephant onto the platform that electrocuted them?
No.
They had to get the trainer who blamed himself for the death that Topsy did. He was drunk as shit. And they had to go and get him and be like, you have to coax this elephant down to get on the electric stage to die.
That is dark.
Yeah.
That's a horrible movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Don't make that movie. That looks really... Now make the movie. I don't care. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So it's a patent thing where there's something that is in violation of a patent that Nintendo owns. So it's not a copyright claim, which I would think that a copyright claim would be pretty easy to make. But I don't know what the patent is specifically. Yeah. And I'm interested to see where this goes because Nintendo must have some proprietary thing. But seeing it was based on the Unreal Engine, I don't really know.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, my phone goes through the computer.
Oh, okay.
I thought I turned this off. There we go. But it must be something that Nintendo has. It's made in the Unreal Engine, which Nintendo does not own.
I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I thought Unreal...
But they're doing something. Maybe they're just trying to do something where they just run out of money after a while.
One of those slap suits?
Things, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the slap suits...
It's stupid either way. It's just be like, hey, don't play Pal World. Play us. We're Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Make a good Pokemon game, and I'd rather play that.
Yeah.
But they won't do that, so... also from the State of Play, I think my favorite announcement was the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
Is it Yotei?
I think it's Yotei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, God, that looks fun.
Looks really good. I'm excited.
What got me about that is right at the end, it just says optimized for the PlayStation 5 Plus, and I'm just like, oh, God.
PS5 Pro.
Whatever. And I'm just like, oh, no.
Eh.
But I just felt that itch where I'm just like, I know I've talked so much shit about the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a waste of money. But then I was just like, but how much better is it going to be? It can't be that much better.
No, I don't think so.
Ghost of Tsushima was one of the most beautiful games to this day that I've ever played.
Yeah.
Did it make you want to go back and replay it?
Oh, I'm already replaying it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is too.
It's a great game.
I popped into a PlayStation and saw that's what he was playing, and I was like, they got him.
It's a great game. I am actually playing because there's so many games to play now.
Yeah, we were just talking about this before we started recording.
Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
Never played the first one.
I would suggest checking this game out. Really? Honestly, yes. It does a lot of quality of life things that I think are great. It updates the movement, the controls, so that it's more modern. And
sort of in the way Resident Evil 4 did?
It's kind of
like not Resident Evil 4, like Resident Evil 3 Remake. How they made that more of it's not as much tank controls.
It's, well, Dead Rising had its own style of control.
Okay.
Which
what was that? Was that PlayStation 3?
It was Xbox 360, one of the first Xbox 360
that was
games.
PlayStation 3.
I don't think it came out for PlayStation 3.
Same
But
era, that generation. Yeah.
And because I remember because it was one of the first HD TV games, and I couldn't read any of the text on my CRT TV because it was just too small for my TV to show them.
Oh.
Yeah, right?
Couldn't get through the tubes.
Now I can see it. I'm like, ooh, it looks great. It has a lot of really cool just quality of life improvements. You level up faster so that you can play through it because it was a pretty challenging game, and you could save it a lot more on autosaves. It used to not autosave.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed that a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it was all about restarting your run type thing.
Going back to the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, that was something they did as well. You don't have to find an ink ribbon and then find a little fucking typewriter to save your game.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's but it's not as like ambitious as like RE2 remake or RE4 or even RE4 remake. It tries to stay as true to the original as possible, and I think they did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with it.
But killing zombies in a mall. It's fun killing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they gave the chainsaw a lot more health to use, so you can use it a lot longer, and it's just that's worth it for me right there.
That's awesome.
It's a great game. I'm having a great time. But I've been playing UFO 50 a whole bunch.
Which you mentioned last week.
I called it UFO 40. I was wrong. It's 50 games, not 40.
You missed 10 UFOs.
Yes.
Huh.
But I've been playing Valstead on there, and that's so cool.
So can you buy these games separately, or is it just one bundle on
just
Steam?
One bundle, $25.
Okay.
For 50 games.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
50 cents a pop.
But this game is a dungeon crawler, so like you're just first person and you're going through a dungeon, and then you get to a enemy, and it goes to like almost a Punch-Out style battle that you have with the enemies. And I'm having a great time playing that.
Sounds kind of fun.
I've been playing it for like 5.5 hours. I get lost playing it.
The first boss fight in Plucky Squire is a Punch-Out thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See,
it's
that's
fun.
just a really good
it's a
style of play.
It's
right
a good
there.
mechanic. I mean, it's hard to beat. Like, if it ain't broke, don't
that's
fix
like
it.
50 of these games. It's just really fun mechanics.
God, I gotta check this out then.
It's so crazy how some of these games, like Valstead is like a game of the year contender with how fantastic it is. I'm having a great time.
One of 50 in this set.
Exactly.
So they're not all winners.
I don't know. Well, there's some games that I just don't want to play because they're not as interesting to me.
How they get lumped together? Do you know?
It was one company that made them. The people that made Spelunky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've seen people play Spelunky and speedrun that game.
Yeah.
Looks hard as shit.
So they just, it's their project that they did.
So is it just like every developer, they're like, hey, everyone throw together an alien game?
I'm not sure. No, okay, well, it's just like, there's a game that's a point-and-click adventure game, kind of like Shadowgate, if you ever played that.
Nope.
Well, it's just very antiquated style of point-and-click that used to be on the NES, and it's a horror game, and it's been pretty interesting so far.
Huh.
They got a game that's just a beat-em-up, which is pretty fun, but it's kind of...
Aliens?
No, it's just dudes find other dudes, kind of like Double Dragon.
So is it UFO, meaning, is it all...
UFO 50, because it's like UFO soft, the type of
I thought it was
development that's on
50 alien games this whole time.
No, there's like 5 or 6.
10%? That's a fair amount of
There's
alien
a game called Party House, which is just a deck builder, and that game is awesome. You just have to throw the best party.
Wait, deck builder like deck of cards, or is it a party house where you have to build a deck? Like deck building
that would be a great game too.
God damn it, I got really excited because I was like, oh, a real deck builder?
It's a deck.
It's like Slay the Spire.
You choose the people that you want to come to the party.
Yeah, someone with a kick-ass deck.
No, you go to that party.
Yeah.
But you let them in randomly. You try not to throw too wild a party that the cops come, but you have to try and get the VIPs to come. It's just...
What a weird game.
It's so cool.
God, I love creativity.
There's just so much creativity in 50 games in this bad boy.
All right. I might have to break out the Steam Deck for that.
That's what I've been playing it on.
Yeah.
And it's been working fantastically.
Well, speaking of creativity, let's go in the opposite direction. Also in the state of play, they announced a remake of Horizon Zero Dawn. I never finished that game.
Me neither. It didn't grab me.
And also they announced a Lego Horizon Adventures.
I remember that when they announced that a while ago.
But like they showed stuff where and I'm just like, I didn't know Horizon was that big of a game.
It doesn't feel like it to me, but then again, I didn't play it.
Because there's a Horizon level in Astrobot, so I figured that they're trying to make that like a whole thing. When I talked about Astrobot a couple weeks ago, we got pissed there wasn't a Ghost of Tsushima level.
Yeah.
And they also announced DLC for Astrobot.
Yeah.
Which looks adorable. Did you see the little Astrobot Helldiver?
No, but that's great.
He's got a little Earth flag or Super Earth flag, and I'm just like, oh, they're doing it. So I'm hoping maybe there's a DLC plan for Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
Where they'll do an Astrobot. Because I think that's something they could do if you take Astrobot as a franchise, whenever you have a big release coming out, and like, and we'll throw in something
cool
with
little
Astrobot
DLC.
too. Yeah, because it's like a free speedrunning
Release
DLC.
it at the same time you do a State of Play.
Right.
Do like a fun little
That'd
DLC.
be a fun way to get people into games.
Yeah, right?
Like, just release it as Astrobot.
Yeah.
And you get to play through the State of Play.
get to
God,
do
that's a
what
great
they're
idea.
Yeah, I'm full of them, dog.
Sony, listen to Jake. It's such a better idea than remastering Horizon. Like,
If that's what
I
people
have
want.
Horizon over there on the shelf.
Yeah.
I
got
played it
digitally, yeah.
I played it until it got aggressively hard, and I was just like, I really don't care. And then when the new one came out, I played the little demo, because one great thing about PlayStation is they let you play a certain amount of time demoing a game instead of just like playing one little area. They're like, you get to play this game for 2 hours, whoever. Something that will come into play when I talk about your recommendation, that PlayStation gets you a time demo of a game.
Okay.
But yeah, I just have no interest in it. And then there's things like Monster Hunter, where I'm like, I guess I know Monster Hunter is a big franchise. I
enjoyed Generations when I played that, but it wasn't enough to grab me to do anything with the franchise. I'm happy that people enjoy it though.
They're also letting Lego Fortnite be split screen, which I love. I assume that's not just PlayStation, but if you have like a little brother, little cousin, kid, whatever, split screen Fortnite, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Also, they're remastering the Legacy of Kain games. Now, this is something that is in my famed series of games I had a PlayStation demo disc for and only played one bit, speaking of little demos.
Yeah.
I played one little bit of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Thought it was fun.
Yeah.
The dude kind of looked like Prince. And I was just
little bit.
This is a fun game, but I never played the rest of them.
But
you've got a fond memory of this franchise.
Yes, I love Soul Reaver. That was my first game into the Legacy of Kain games. I didn't play Blood Omen. I still haven't played Blood Omen.
I didn't know there was something before that.
Yeah, Blood Omen was the first one. You play as Kain in the Legacy of Kain in Blood Omen.
I thought it was just a thing like Legend of Zelda.
No.
Where you don't play as that
Kain
person.
is like the super strong vampire. And this in Blood Omen is like his origins, how he became super strong and all important. Basically, all vampires come from Kain.
Okay.
Soul Reaver. I love this game, by the way. I'm so excited that they're doing a remaster. I hope everybody buys it so that we get another Soul Reaver, another Legacy of Kain game out there. Maybe they'll do Blood Omen 2. That game was really good too. But you play as, I think his name was Azrael. I'm pretty sure his name was Azrael.
Sure.
But you all get the gift of vampire from Kain, right? And Kain just kind of gives you the vampire. You turn into a vampire. Azrael gets a flight from it. He gets wings.
Yeah.
And he's like a really cool vampire. Kain's jealous, so he rips his wings off and throws them into this vortex pit that has like the Lord of Death down there.
Right.
And he's like, oh yeah. I could use you. If you want to come back, I'll make you a Soul Reaver. You have to eat souls now. You can't. Blood's not going to save you.
It was fun platforming and fun like mechanics. I remember, especially for the PS1.
Battling.
I have just fond memories of the little demo that I played.
Yeah. Awesome fighting. Crazy hard puzzles. A wonderful world. Just great world building in that bad boy. So I am super stoked.
And of course, you also must be super stoked that there's DLC coming out for your game of the year from last year. DLC was announced for Alan Wake 2 as well.
The Lake House. Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Going to be another super spooky time with Alan Wake.
They said that this one's going to be the haunted house one, the scary one.
That's fun.
The other one, Night Springs, was fantastic. That was great DLC right there.
How long after the game did that come out?
Did that come out?
6 months?
Maybe.
After release?
Yeah.
That seems like a good time window for a DLC to come out.
What they're doing is like super cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Night Springs was really fun.
Still haven't played that game.
I mean, you got to play. Well, to me, you'd have to play Max Payne. Well, you already. Did you beat that?
No.
Okay.
But I know the story of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I saw the
so
Mark
I guess you can
Wahlberg
go to
movie.
Alan Wake now. And then you have to find an American Nightmare somehow.
No.
So you can know
I
who
played
Scratch is.
Control.
Control's great.
Yeah.
You have to play Control. That's true.
But the game I'm working on now just came out, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Yes, I'm excited to play that.
I literally got it earlier today.
Yeah.
And I've played maybe 30 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It looks really good.
Looks
it's
great.
Gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be... I'll have more to talk about on that next week.
Mouthwashing came out.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the fish people?
Yeah. How Fish is Made, their second game. Yeah, that game's out now as well.
Huh.
That game's incredible.
Is that PC only again? Or
Yes.
Huh.
But man, awesome.
You got a lot of stuff to do.
Just a crazy amount of good games that just came out right now.
A lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Well, things that aren't coming out, which I teased a little bit ahead of time. I was actually sad about this. I've had an issue with seeing trailers for movies and then not being able to find them in theaters near us. I don't know if it's just the way smaller movies are marketed now, where it's like they're going to, it's like, oh, in theaters, but they're planning put out in theaters for like 2 weeks, and they're planning on putting it out on streaming like a month later.
Yeah.
Like the new Kevin Smith movie, the closest place it was playing to us was an hour away.
Wow.
And that sucks.
What's it called?
The 4:30 movie.
Yeah. I hear really good things.
I've heard really good things too.
So that's like,
but it's just like, I
perked my interest.
Yeah, it's an hour away, and
But
they're
we
showing
just-
like one showing of it, and it's at like 9:00 at night.
We have to go to DC.
It
More
was,
like.
well, it was playing in DC, but there was also playing further south down in Fredericksburg. So it's like I'm not driving down there either.
No.
What was the other one? There's a movie that just was allegedly released today called Lee. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a Kate Winslet movie. She plays a war journalist in World War II. The trailer for it looks really good. It's basically like the character she's playing, who I forget her name, but her last name is Lee, and but it's kind of what they based Kirsten Dunst's character in Civil War off of. Like a woman war journalist who's like renowned for getting the good picture and like going into the front lines and everything like that. But she was a real person. But her like partner, who does all the battlefield shots with her, is played by Andy Samberg in like a dramatic turn. So that I want to see the movie because it looks good. But I really want to see Andy Samberg, who I really like Andy Samberg.
Yeah, of course.
And I really want to see his first turn in a dramatic role, because like Sandler did it, and Samberg's kind of been on the Sandler path for a long time.
He plays his son. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just like, okay. And like Sandberg was on Seth Meyers this week, and Seth Meyers said, how do you get this role? And he literally said, well, I've got a weird face and Sandler's too old. And I'm like, okay, but I want to see if he could do it.
Sure.
I think the closest he's gotten to kind of serious was Palm Springs.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
Yeah.
And that had like some weird dark moments in it.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see that. And then also I want to talk to you to see if you want to go see Megalopolis this weekend.
Ugh.
I hear it's a shit show.
It looks like taxing. It looks very... It looks very
right. So
demanding.
One of the things about this
film,
about this movie is apparently there's a part in the movie where someone in the audience needs to talk to Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And there's like a little script.
At first, it was supposed to be an AI-driven conversation,
right,
with Adam Driver,
and then it turned to,
and now it's
someone in the audience is paid to sit there and say the thing. So I don't know if we go to Regal Cinemas, if someone from Regal has to sit in there and do that, because I was listening to a Australian podcaster, Alexi Taliopoulos. He did the Finding Yeezus thing that we watched and all that shit, and at the Sydney premiere, he got to be the guy that talked to Adam Driver.
Holy!
So I sent a message to Regal on behalf of the podcast to be like, hey, are people getting to sign up for this? Because we will do it. Like, if you're taking volunteers. And I did not hear back from Regal Cinemas, because I thought it would be great for the podcast to be like, come see Megalopolis with me and Jake. We're going to do the part where you get to talk to Adam Driver. But I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. But not coming to theaters is Hellboy the Crooked Man.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
I like the...
Why do they try?
I like all three Hellboy movies. Like, they're all good movies.
I'm like,
and then this one, they're just like, we're not just not going to do theaters at all. And that's a bummer.
Well, it's just, man, they're really trying to get that off the ground.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, I think it's weird because Ron Perlman did such an iconic turn.
Yeah.
As a character.
Exactly, right?
And it kind of became more of a Guillermo del Toro thing than it was more along the lines of what the Hellboy comics are. Because the Hellboy comics, he's like skinny and gross, and it's not as fantastic. Most of the books aren't like, he's fighting a Cthulhu monster. That's, some of the time. A lot of his stuff's like low-level shit. It's more like X-Files. Like, I think you might be able to do a Hellboy TV show like X-Files or something like that.
Yeah.
But the smaller movies, I think no one has any... It'd be like if they tried to...
It's like when you think Hellboy, you think Ron Perlman.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I've got the friggin' right-handed Doom costume kit up there on the shelf. Like, I love the Hellboy Ron Perlman, but it's just kind of sad that they not even going to try it in theaters anymore.
Because it feels like it's going to get drowned out all the time when you bring it up.
When it comes to
New Hellboy, is like, oh, Ron Perlman's back? Or it's like, why didn't they get Ron Perlman?
The David Harbour Hellboy was good, too. It wasn't as
the
good.
only thing that makes me want to watch that is Milla Jovovich is in it.
Oh, you haven't seen the David Harbour Hellboy?
No.
Oh, that might be a wreck for you come Halloween time.
They asked her, like in an interview, what she thinks about it. She's like, I am in cult movies. She's like, everybody tells me that the movies that I'm doing are bad. It's like, but then years later, Everybody turns around on him. He's like, it's going to be the same thing with this movie.
And The Fifth Element is some people's favorite movie.
Fifth Element, Resident Evil.
That whole franchise.
Yes. Yeah. She's just like, I just do these movies, and people say that they're bad when they come or stupid. And then years later, they grow an affinity towards them.
Maybe. All right, that might be a rec for you.
And I was like, that makes it enough that I want to see it.
This is our last podcast in September. Are you doing spooky Halloween October month all year like you did last year?
I was about to, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You going to? Do some horror movies?
Horror-ish. Yeah.
All right, well then I'm not going to recommend a thing like that for you. I have just something nice for you this week, though. I'm not going to make you watch the Ellen DeGeneres special. But you should, and we could talk about it next week.
I mean...
Because I watched it.
You did watch it. You watched it all the way through, huh?
Jake, I watched it all the way through. I'm trying to compile my list this year of like my definitive list of what were the great stand-up specials of this year and which ones suck. And I recommend some to you, and then some of them I'm just like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have not been good this year.
Dave Attell was this year, right?
Yes. Hot Cross Buns was this year.
That's probably my favorite so far. But then again, it is driven solely because of my love for Dave Attell.
That's fair. But I watch like one a week.
Yeah.
So like I've got a running list going.
That's true.
But it's not great. But you should watch it because it's not great.
It's interesting.
All right. This is what I'll say about it. And then if you watch it and talk about it next week, we can. It's not even, there's nothing there to the point where I can make Jake watch it knowing that he'll hate it, thinking I can get content out of it. Because that was my plan. And then I was just like, no. Because at the end of the day, it's like,
my reaction from it.
I don't feel like talking about this anymore. Because it's just not a great special.
She's just too famous. You know what I mean?
Yep.
To be like, hey, I know you think I'm down and out, but I'm a scrapper.
Nothing against her. She had a special on
hundreds of millions of dollars.
I don't know what the name of the special is, but it was an HBO special. It was after her TV show, before the talk show. She's wearing like a blue shirt with like a circle design on it. One of the funniest stand-up specials in a bit I've seen. You know, it's one of the ones that I saw when I was in like middle school, early high school, where I was like, this is great.
Ellen
stand-up
DeGeneres?
comedy. Yeah.
Okay.
She was so funny. And it had this bit about how the whole dumb bit was that you wrap batteries a certain way and they're made out of hard metal, but you wrap light bulbs in tiny little pieces of cardboard. And it's just one of those things that, you know, when you hear a joke and you're a kid, you're like, that's so funny. Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So nothing against Ellen DeGeneres as a person.
No, I loved the Ellen
She was never mean to me.
When it was a sitcom.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. But who cares? It's just not worth it. All right. Let's talk about good things. First, my recommendation for Jake. I want to talk about that first.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's going to be a quick conversation, but it's going to be a good conversation. So I recommended Jake Under Paris, a movie that is available to watch on Netflix. It stars a bunch of French people.
Yeah.
Who I am trying to pull up their names right now. Oh, Maggie Smith died.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That popped up on my IMDb just now. She was great. And so it's... sorry, I'm still pulling it up. This is not going to be edited either. So it's set in Paris.
Yeah.
There's a woman, Sophia, and she starts out as a environmentalist. She's trying to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is a real thing, and it's terrifying, and someone should do something about it. And her whole team gets killed by a shark. They have a shark that's tagged, and it's like, oh, we saw her a couple months ago, and she was just a little shark, and now she's a big giant shark. And it's a Mako this time. It's rare that the Mako gets the lead role as a killer shark. I said this last week. I love killer shark movies. It might be my favorite genre of movie is sharks eating people. I don't know why. It could be a Florida thing. It could be because my grandfather showed me Jaws when I was too young to see it. But animals, giant versions of animals eating people, Jurassic Park, Anaconda, Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, love them all. Might be my favorite genre of film. Even Dune a little bit. That's probably my favorite part of Dune too, is the sandworm eating people. But so then she's back in Paris. And a shark, the shark's there. New environmentalist girls. It's like, oh, we found your number 7, signal number 7.
Yeah, we hacked into your beacon and we found that she is in the Seine River.
And it's a new edgy for the new millennium, like Gen Z hacker. Yeah, and her and her girlfriend, they're going to save the world and tell everyone you should leave sharks alone. But there's a shark in Paris and it's fucking things up, and they need to get it out.
It's pronounced the Seine River, right?
Seine.
Seine. Okay.
French. Seine River. The France River.
So it's they found it in the Seine River.
Right. Like smack dab in Paris.
Yeah.
And then
I know your question.
How'd it get there?
Sharks swim in salt water. This is a river.
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, bull sharks can go up rivers. They've been found in up near Lake Michigan, swimming up the Erie Canal.
That's interesting. This is a mako.
They've also been found. Well, they're still sharks. They've also been found up to, I think, up to almost Oklahoma in the Mississippi.
Yeah?
They found sharks. But I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So they hand wave that away. They're like, oh, they're adapting to the new environment because there's this
global warming.
There's this exactly. It's global warming.
Well, it's global warming.
That fixes everything.
Yeah. There's a part where she's like, you see these glands? These glands, they should be that. They should be like that.
Yeah, she's learning to breathe the fresh water.
Yeah, they can do fresh water now.
Also, I don't think the Seine River even counts as fresh water anymore because what are the
isn't it famously isn't it famously dirty?
Yeah. So it's as far as I know, rivers like the Seine and the Thames in London and like those old European rivers that have been since the Industrial Revolution, they're borderline dead zones. Like nothing lives in them.
The biggest stuff that was going through my head.
Yeah.
The first thing was like, it's in the Seine River. And I was like, sharks swim in salt water. That doesn't make sense. And they're like, we're going to do a swim. They're going to be swimming in the Seine River. Well, and I was like, isn't that one of the dirtiest rivers?
And that's a true thing that happened because they had the Olympics there a couple months ago. And one of the big things before the Olympics was...
we got to clean this up.
Because the literal amount of human shit that was in the river was unhealthy for people to be in.
You could see it. Yeah. You could see the amount.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
And then there was... John Oliver talked about it, but there was a thing where people were... they hated the French government so much that they said... here's when, if you live upriver and the way the currents go, when you should take a shit in the river to make sure that it's in Paris. And I'm just like, God, the French are great.
That's a funny thing.
It's hilarious. But
all right.
Ruling suspension of disbelief. Shark starts killing people. There's a hot river cop with a past that he doesn't like talking about.
Yeah.
And him and Sophia, and there you got to kill the shark.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of the shark. Because she says this shark's a killer. It's too big.
Things are going crazy with this dang shark, is what she says.
And the shark's name is Lilith,
Yeah.
who is famously the mother of all demons that kills people.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's Lilith. That's also Diablo.
Okay.
Lilith is named after the mother of all demons.
That's great.
All right. And that's also why they named Lilith Fair, because fucking edgy in the 90s, man. So, Jake, what did you think of Under Paris?
This movie was...
rules?
Too stupid?
Yeah.
Because it took too long.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like they jumped right into it.
I feel like they did jump right into it, and then they didn't for a while. And then something great happens, and then it didn't for a while. And then something fun happens.
Right.
And then it ended.
Yeah.
And like most of the time I was like, I don't get this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think I like shark movies. I think I like Jason Statham.
Oh.
You know? Because that movie is great. The Meg
both movies
and Meg 2 are great.
That franchise is great.
And this movie, you could just watch Jaws. It tries Jaws.
Yeah, there are a lot of direct nods to Jaws. Like at one point, the shark's swimming up a river and it goes through a net and has the barrels flowing behind it, where it's direct reference to Jaws.
It's straight up not as good as Jaws. It's
no, I'm not saying it's as good as Jaws. I'm just saying
it wants to do the same type of story where it's like, how do we get people worried about a shark in a freshwater river?
Because the shitty mayor is just the mayor from
the
mayor from Jaws, because they have this triathlon.
Yeah,
and she spent €1 billion.
Yeah.
To prepare for this triathlon.
Yeah.
And she's the scientists and the police are saying, you got to get people out of the water. She's like, we're going to put people, we're going to put so many people in the water.
You don't understand my problem. I have to put so many people in this water.
I have to put, and normally a river that famously has no people in it, this is the one weekend there's going to be people in it.
Where you can't pay people to get into this goddamn thing.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that when they first get to Paris, I wonder if this is my favorite bit of foreshadowing in a while. There's magnet fishermen, which that pops up in my YouTube algorithm all the time for some reason. Do you get that in your algorithm?
No. But
people just tossing big magnets into rivers and pulling out shopping carts and shit.
Yeah.
And
it seems like a fine hobby. I feel like if I'm fit enough in my old age.
Find so many guns.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Jake,
I think it would be a good cleanup effort.
I don't know if this is something that could get us flagged for political content. We have way too many guns in this country. They're all over the rivers. There's so many guns.
That's how you start your crime spree.
Just toss them in the river. But so they're pulling out mortar shells from World War II, which are apparently just littered.
Yeah.
All on the bottom of the Seine River.
They said like 250?
Yeah, just artillery shells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot. Huh?
Seems like too many. It's like how you have so many guns here. The next time someone from Europe says Americans need to have gun control like they do in Europe, I'm going to be like, what about all the shells lying at the bottom of your rivers? A shark could get in there and cause trouble.
I like how they established that the cop was a good cop because he took his boat to give fresh clothes and books to the homeless that were sitting there, and he's like, all right, but you guys got to get out of here soon. You
read any good books lately?
Yeah, and the homeless people are like, yeah, we get it.
And the next time we see that kindly homeless man, he's in half.
Yeah,
because he got sharked.
The shark attack is so funny at the beginning because it just...
You're talking to the one in the ocean.
Yeah, the one in the ocean that starts the event. That was an awesome scene, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it goes really fast like a bullet and it takes somebody away.
The mako is the fastest species of shark.
So it's
shark
cleaning
facts.
up fast, and everything's going crazy. And she jumps in and it's dragging her in, and it was a good show don't tell type thing where she's getting the compression, you know. So now
shark drags her down.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
So scary.
And it's wonderful, great thing.
Her nose starts bleeding. You think she's going out like the people on the Titanic submarine. Yeah. Oh God, it's so scary to be in the ocean like that. I hate it so much.
Then I don't want to be in the ocean like that. And then
ocean's the worst.
The environmentalists were very funny.
Yes.
Where they're like, no, we just need to free her, and then everything's fine.
Oh, real quick, did you watch this subtitled or did you watch the English dub?
Subtitle.
The French are so good in this movie because they're so condescending the whole time. Everyone is so condescending to everyone else they talk to. It's just like, well, you're just a river cop. Well, you're just a disgraced scientist. Well, you're just the mayor. Well, you don't know. You're just a little girl. And everyone's so shitty while there's a shark. And the sharks are so mean.
The shark is just, it
doesn't look great. It's not good CGI.
It's just moments. It took a while to get to the best moment, and that's when they're in the catacombs, which is still funny because there were so many people down there.
There's so many people.
There should have been 0 to a couple people down there.
Right.
But the environmentalist is trying to coax it out by somehow being in the water.
She has a sonar device.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be in the water for it. And then everybody's like, get the hell out of the water.
Right.
And she's like, no, I can change her.
Right.
And then she can't.
You can't.
A great shot of above where the shark jumps out of the water with her in his mouth and going,
so
closes up on it.
Skip ahead probably because we're just going to spoil this movie. It's too silly not to spoil.
Yeah, it's a silly movie. It's not about, I guess it does have a pretty shocking ending.
If you like The Meg, it's a good movie. I think it's on Netflix.
It's not as good as The Meg. I would give it a 2. I would have to give it a 2.
All right.
Yes. Because it's
a hard 4 from me.
I love it. It pushed. It just didn't feel natural.
No,
what it was going for. I didn't understand. It wanted to be like Jaws, which Jaws is a great movie. One of the best movies ever made.
I thought you were going to say great white shark.
Great grandpa.
White shark.
But it's great white shark. But that movie is like a perfect movie. It's
no
the tension is amazing. The characters are awesome.
This is definitely more like a Jaws 3.
Is perfect.
This is a Jaws 3.
Yeah. Oh, maybe
when it's in
know.
SeaWorld.
I haven't seen
You ever seen Jaws 3 in SeaWorld?
I've watched Jaws.
And
that's it.
Jaws 2?
I haven't seen Jaws 2. No.
Jaws 4?
I was happy with Jaws.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Jaws 4, the shark follows her down to Florida.
Isn't that Jaws 4, The Revenge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time it's personal. That's what it said on the cover of VHS. My grandfather rented for me from the video store in Indianapolis, Florida when I was too young. Yeah, I remember. Flip the switch that summer. I don't know what happened.
But it also wanted to be goofy like the Meg is.
Yeah.
Where the Meg understands its stupidity. Well, that it's fun. I wouldn't say it's stupid.
The Meg is when they say you could just hold your breath underwater when you're at the bottom of the ocean and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, you got to push really hard. You got to close and then try it.
Jason Statham's going.
Yeah. That was very funny.
That was a great movie.
He can decompress that way. Mm-hmm. That movie wasn't trying to be something to,
right?
It wasn't delivering a message. That's one of the things that you have to back away from.
Right.
But I would say the catacomb scene is very affecting.
Yeah.
That was
which the first one or when they go back?
The first one.
Okay.
That
with all the kids.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
That was truly terrifying. That was a situation that I wish the whole movie was like. There's more.
I think the scariest part in that scene was so they're in these catacombs and then obviously sharks and people get eaten. So there's like a stampede and like a stampede of people is something I have nightmares about.
And
because
water
you just can't
as
stop
well.
it. So these people are running through chest-high water, and at one point you see someone get knocked down and trampled underneath. I'm just like, that's the worst.
Horrifying. Yeah.
People like literally, and not like just trampling.
People trying to get up out of the water, being pulled back down by people panicking.
Right.
That stuff was all terrifying.
And it's not like a Black Friday got to get a TV purchase. It's like it trampling. Like I'm running for my literal life, and I will run over anybody to get past.
Yeah.
And also, I kind of wanted all those kids to get eaten.
Well,
so I was rooting for the shark in that scene.
When I saw how they were exiting out of there, I would have just waited.
At that point, you just go flat on the wall. It's like the Gravitron at a state fair.
Enough.
Yeah. There's plenty of room.
There's plenty of room. Yeah. And everybody was like, all right, everybody remain calm.
Yeah. Everyone just chill.
But of course, it's hard to remain calm.
Well, it's the hardest thing about a shark movie is you're safe once you're out of the water.
And it's like, this movie was like, look, Jaws did not kill as many as Lilith, okay?
Right.
Because she killed like 13 people down there.
Yeah.
That is an insane number.
It's bananas
for sharks to kill.
It's that's the thing. We find out in the next time they go back to the catacombs, she's not just feeding for herself.
Yeah.
She spawned an incredible number of sharks.
Yes.
Like to the point where
she's a new species of shark.
They've evolved. And I do like how when you're saying that it doesn't have a message, it does kind of toe this line that it's an environmental message.
It does have a message, which is environmentally conscious.
But I don't think they try to shoehorn it so hard. I feel like it's more of a plot device than a message. Like they're like, how can we get a lot of sharks here? Well, the environment.
Okay. I can see what you mean.
Like it wasn't being preachy about like this is what happens when you don't recycle. There are going to be sharks in Paris.
It's giving credence to...
It's a plot device.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they do it in Jurassic Park.
It's a fine
the Jurassic Worlds and all that. You still haven't seen the third Jurassic World.
I haven't seen the second Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch the remake of whatever the new Jurassic World is.
Yeah, you are.
No.
We're going to watch it. Regardless. So yes, then they go back into the catacombs with the police squad.
And explosives.
Because they're going to blow up the catacombs.
They're going to blow it up.
Yeah. And trap the shark in there. Solid plan.
A solid plan.
Blow it up, trap the shark.
It's actually a whole bunch of sharks. And now they don't eat like
Hundreds
sharks.
of sharks.
They don't eat like sharks no more. They eat more like piranha, where they surround your body and nibble.
Yeah. It's gross.
That part is very funny.
And then Big Shark gets on right when the triathlon's going on.
Mm-hmm. Triathlon happens.
Yep.
And they do the same exact shot that killed the environmentalist girl to a swimmer. And I was like, you can't go back to the cookie jar. Even there once.
I mean, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. I'm just saying I had a lot of fun with it.
That had an anti-material rifle that was scoped. When they show her setting up the rifle and it's pointing at the crowd while she's doing, I was like, "Wow!"
It's a bananas way to put together a weapon.
That is so funny. Yeah. So they're shooting it, and that shark don't care. It's just fine.
The least realistic part in this, to me, is so once the shark comes out and all hell breaks loose during the triathlon, the military that's there decide that they're going to shoot the sharks, and then Sophia starts saying, and you forgot about these shells the whole time. She starts screaming, "Don't shoot. The shells are down there." And I know good and well from Mythbusters, bullets can't penetrate more than about 4 feet of water.
It can't do that well. Yeah.
Yeah. But luckily, the shark just happens to lift a couple of them up, and then the river starts exploding.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
whole bunch.
The movie ends with all of Paris flooded from the seawall. It's the final shot of the Batman.
Yes.
Where they show Gotham all completely flooded.
Yeah.
It's that, but it's Paris, and there are sharks everywhere.
Yes.
So I was just like,
have the new sharks to worry about.
So there's a cliffhanger moment where like, what's going to happen?
They're dead.
Well, I know, but I'm just like calling it under Paris.
Yeah.
What are you going to call it? The second one. Is it above Paris? Is it just
under Paris 2?
Wet Paris? No, because they're not under Paris anymore. Now the sharks aren't under Paris. Now they're at Paris level.
Under Paris 2, at Paris.
They're calling it street sharks.
My weekend at Sharkies.
The Champs-Élysées.
What was Weekend at Bernie's 2 called? Darn it.
I don't know.
Dead Man Walking?
Electric Boogaloo? That was breaking. Regardless. So you're giving this a 2.
I'm giving it a 2.
All right.
It's something where I've seen a lot of these types of movies. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah, and it's just sharks don't interest me.
Fair enough. I guess it's a Florida thing for me.
Maybe. But you are big in the sharks. And while I was watching it...
You didn't like Girl Runs Away from Crocodiles during a hurricane as much as I did either.
Oh, I love Crawl.
Crawl was great.
Crawl was great. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun watching it with you because you pointed out everything that was
factually inaccurate.
Yes.
That's so weird that I'm just like, oh yeah, obviously this is what Paris is like, but when things are awry in a Florida movie, I'm like, hey,
yeah,
this is bullshit.
It's just funny because you're like, oh, they don't have health codes like that.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
She has a full basement, 200 yards from the shore.
Yeah, it was very important that they have
Which,
that
by the way, there was a bad hurricane that's going on, apparently. Yeah.
My heart goes out to them.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's a big bummer.
Yeah. Hard turn to Jake's recommendation for me.
Sure. Let's get into my rec. To you.
Cyberpunk, Edgerunners, anime about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, man.
It's not... Well, I can't speak that. You speak to it.
So what I was doing was going through Cyberpunk for my 5th time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm having a great time. And I was like, I wish there was more Cyberpunk stuff for me to do. And that's when I was like, Edgerunners. That's a thing that I didn't check out. So I decided to check it out. And when I was about 5 episodes into it, that's when I was like, this could be a good rec.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm trying to get you interested in Cyberpunk.
Yep.
And I also want to get you interested in anime. Uh-huh. So that was 2 birds with 1 stone.
Two things that I don't have any real connection to.
Yeah. Anything that you don't show any interest in.
Right.
You know, where I'm like pretty interested.
I like my Dragon Ball Z. That's about as far as I go.
This
is like the 4th anime thing? You had me do...
3rd? No, 4th. It did FLCL. We did Spirited Away.
And I'm a Naked Chef School.
Oh, yes. I did get you to watch Food Wars.
That's what it is.
Oh, yes. That was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one.
And also Scavenger's Raid, kind of an anime.
No, not at all.
Oh, it's art style.
No.
Scavenger's Raid is my favorite out of all those things.
Scavenger's Raid is fantastic.
Yeah, Scavenger's Raid fucking rules.
So when I found by the 5th one, that's when I was like, oh, this stuff is like, you know, it's popping off. This is great. I'm having a great time. So I was like, let's see what he thinks.
So it was about the 4th one because I watched the whole series.
Great.
So it was about the 4th one that I was just like, I don't know anything about this world.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned last time is that there are a couple in-jokes that players of the game would like.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't play this game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you made a fucking Banjo-Kazooie cartoon,
yeah,
and you didn't know what Banjo-Kazooie was, most people wouldn't get it. So I was like, this is not clicking with me. It was the anime stuff and all the anime tropes.
Yeah.
It was just like it was hyper violent and weirdly sexual.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, not my thing. So I'm like, I think the way for me to give this a fair shake is I got to play the game. What I mentioned earlier with PlayStation giving you trials, they give you a 5-hour trial of Cyberpunk.
Okay.
So I did a 5-hour trial of Cyberpunk. I played 5 hours of Cyberpunk. I don't know how far into the game I got. I got to the point where you're doing a mission, and then you got to steal some shit, and then your buddy dies, and then you're Keanu Reeves for a little bit, and then Keanu Reeves is in your head, and then I talked to a dude at a diner, and he's like, we got to get Keanu Reeves out of your head.
Takamura.
Yeah. Huh. And then the 5 hours was up.
Okay. So you're about basically at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
But I get a gist. And I didn't go straight through it. Like I spent some time driving around the city and playing with the mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As far as that game goes, I don't think I'm going to go back to that game. It's just it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It's a lot, and I don't have the brain space for it.
Okay.
It's a lot of the role playing stuff that I just don't care about. There was a lot of talking. Like it's just so much talking.
Yeah.
I will say that it did give me, after playing that and then going back to the second half of the season of this show, the show was better after that.
Okay.
Because like there's a scene that I hadn't gotten to in the show yet, but playing the game, there's a Jarvis limo service, essentially. I forget what it's called.
Delamain.
So he's like AI, and then I got stuck on that mission because I don't know what happened, but somehow the car just flipped on its side, and it wouldn't let me out, and it wouldn't let me do anything, and I was just stuck on my side, and my homie that was sitting next to me was just like staring out the window, and I was just like, well, this isn't what's... Like at first I thought, oh shit, car accident, now we're going to get into some shit. Like I'm going to jump out and start shooting.
Locked in this game.
Yeah. I haven't saved on my PlayStation. I'll show you. It literally took me a long time to be like, this is not what's supposed to happen. But that's referenced in the show.
Yeah, Delamain.
So I get that. They talk about things like BDs. Like they mentioned this, and I was just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I feel like this show, maybe just for me, it doesn't do a great job of setting up the world if you hadn't played the game.
Okay.
So I can see it kind of as a companion piece to the game being much more enjoyable.
Okay.
If I didn't play the game at all, this would have been a hard one.
Okay.
Because I was just like, I don't know this world.
Yeah.
And after playing the game, it's a 2.
Okay.
The season's a 2. The game, it's like you in shark movies. Cyberpunk just does, as a genre, does not speak to me.
Okay, Cyberpunk really speaks to me.
I understand. I understand. I was looking at other versions, like there's the steampunk, and then there's whatever the hell Fallout is, which is retrofuturism, I believe it's called.
Weed punk, that's my favorite.
Is that marijuana?
Yeah, it's the whole world ran on weed.
Yeah, all the different things like that, and it's fine. But Cyberpunk, it's just the colors are too bright and everyone's mean, and it's just the worst world in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
everyone's
my favorite.
talking fast. And they're gross cyborg men. Here's what I'll get. So we'll talk about the show. So the show, you're this little boy named David. Why is everyone in anime a 16-year-old boy?
That was going to be something that I was interested in.
A 16-year-old boy?
Well, he's 17.
Regardless, why does it have to be a young boy?
I don't know. I think it's a Japanese trope.
It's got to be. It's got to be a Japanese trope. But like Food Wars boy, it's like, I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm like, then why are you getting naked all the time?
It's a very interesting thing.
I guess in Japan.
And I liked it because... Like in the game, you're not a child.
No, you're a dude.
You're an established
I was
adult.
a dude. I picked the I forget the name, but you're a Mad Max basically.
A nomad.
Nomad. That's what I was. A Mad Max.
Yeah, that was my first run too.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
That was my last run.
So much more, and then I went to Streetwise, Street Kid, and then I did Corpo.
Yeah,
and now I'm back to
it's just things like that. Like
Street Kid.
When they were talking in the first couple episodes of the show, it's like, oh, he's a Antanaka. Atacama, whatever.
Arasaka.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Corpo guy. And I was like, fuck. And then after playing the game, I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. I really don't think the show works without any knowledge of the game.
I think where you get
or at least
lost,
it's a lot harder.
It's because you're not into the game or anime. Because I watched it with my roommate, and he hasn't played the game, but he watches a lot of anime.
That could be it.
Specifically Trigger. He likes the anime... studio
Roy
that made
Rogers'
it.
horse?
It's called Trigger.
Okay.
And he really enjoyed it as well. It's a 3 for me. I think this is fantastic.
No, don't get me wrong. If I had come across this in the wilderness and you had not recommended it to me, I would be like, this is something that Jake would love.
Right.
But also CD Projekt Red, the people that made the game, they made The Witcher 3, which is a game that I've tried to get into like 3 times.
This is where I was hoping that this would get you into their type of gaming as well.
It just didn't grab me. I mean, I get it, and I like that Keanu Reeves is there.
Yeah.
It's very violent.
Yeah.
The animation is great. I think, okay, so in this season, David, he gets in with this group called Edgerunners, and they're basically mercenaries for hire, and then you've got your Edgerunners, and you've got your Netrunners, and Netrunners can hack things. And that's something I didn't get how they were doing that or what this person's job was until I played the game. And I'm like, oh, that's something you could do. And then when you see the guys with the red eyes and the main Mongols, whatever they're called.
Maelstrom.
I'm getting things kind of right.
Pretty good.
But then the Netrunner shorts them all out, and I'm like, cool, I did that in the game. That was in the tutorial. I get that now. And I see where it's coming from, and I think it's a great companion piece to the game.
Yeah.
But just not for me.
Man,
and
I was hoping that the story would resonate with you just a little bit.
No, and I think it's the characters weren't great, and the whole motivation of this kid David, I get the whole thing that he wants to be the great Edgerunner, and this is something they talk about in the game too. Your buddy that dies at the
theme
beginning
is
of
legacy and what
it's kind of the Edgerunners. The closest thing I could relate them to in that way is, did you ever watch the Spartacus Blood and Sand?
No.
So that was Spartacus thing where it was
Showtime, right?
Showtime or Star? I think it was Stars.
Stars, yeah.
So that came out right after 300.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of stylized. They basically made a Spartacus 300 show. Hyper violent, everything like that. And it was people that kind of mentality where if you die in the arena, then you're going to be a legend. And the Edgerunners kind of have that thing too, where it's if you die pulling a job, then you're going to be like Johnny Silverhands, and people are going to be talking about you for fucking ever. And that's what your
that's
buddy...
the best thing that you can get out of this type of lifestyle.
Which is not a mentality I can get to.
Okay.
It just does not...
And that's what... The way that they explore it in the show is very interesting, because you have... David has nothing to lose anymore.
Right.
He didn't want to develop as a person in that society because he hated it.
Yeah.
And the only reason he did it was for his mom, who he lost. And now he's just like, where do I go and how do I set myself up as something? You know, and where the video game explores it more as a survivability thing.
Yeah, I definitely got that from the game too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of mechanics that I did not get into, just like I didn't get into them in The Witcher 3, where it's just like in Witcher, it's all the crafting stuff and all the little side quests, and then in the Cyberpunk, you could tell, like, I could see the level of customization and the way you could do different gameplays, and I completely get why someone like you could play through this game so many times.
Yeah.
I could do that with Skyrim.
Right.
But the thing about Skyrim is, like, eventually, if you do all of Skyrim, you kind of do every quest line.
Yeah.
Like, it always kind of ends the same-ish. But I see the levels in this where, like, and I've read reviews where it's like, the way it changed, the story can change based on your actions and all this shit. And it's just, the world, I just don't like it enough to do it. Right. If they did this like with a different genre, I could probably see myself doing it. I know I might actually have to play one of your Yakuza games, because I saw that they're doing a Yakuza pirate.
That was so funny. I was watching the RGG Summit,
which I thought was a joke at first.
What, that they do?
Well, it popped up on Reddit. They're like, "Hey, get ready for Like a Dragon Yakuza pirate." And I was just like, is that a Photoshop? Like, someone's just let's make a really silly game. And I'm like, oh no, they're doing it.
No, it's real.
It looks fun.
I mean, I was watching the RGG and I was just hoping for anything that wasn't Yakuza related.
Right.
You know, because they have made games like Fist of the North Star, which I think is fantastic.
Sure.
And they've been working on the Judgment series, which I thought was awesome. And I was like, hopefully they work on something outside of Yakuza. And then they're like, all we have to really show you right now is Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Yakuza pirate. And I was like, man, we're going back to the well. We're going to do these characters again. The more I watched it, the more I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to be with Majima. I'm going to have so much fun.
But, so getting back to Edgerunner, at the end of the season, his little mentor guy dies, and it's because if you have too many cybernetics put into you go cyber psycho, and that's like the show starts out with someone dying from cyber psychosis.
Yeah.
And then another guy's there, and he shoots the guy that kind of looks like the guy with the long arms. Always reminded me of Mark from Auntie Donna, because he's just like kind of weird, and he's got the hair and the beard, and I was just like, that kind of looks like Mark. And then he gets killed, and then big guy gets killed, and then David's just like, well, I guess the thing I have to do is the same thing that happened to all these other people.
Yeah.
It reminded me kind of also of the War Boys and Mad Max Fury Road, like the whole like, witness me, and they're like, we're gonna die on the Fury Road.
Yeah.
Which I don't get it.
It's like in Edgerunners, they're like ready to die, planning on dying, except for Lucy. And in the video game, I mean, it's more like you're running away from dying.
Yeah.
And
that makes more sense. Like, than the people running actively towards it, like knowing.
Well, Edgerunners, like, that's what they're Edgerunners. They're right there at the edge
of the psychosis.
Yeah.
And the last two episodes of this, like, the animation, bananas good. Yeah. And like, it's just gorgeous.
It's so, anytime they're in the vehicles, I thought it was the funniest stuff. The physics in the cars is so damn funny every single time.
There's the little girl that gets Donkey Kong arms by the end.
Yeah.
And she's very funny, just like screaming. She's kind of like vibes of Hit Girl from the Kick-Ass series, where she's just like a little murderous girl that's screaming all the time. And it's a good show. It's just it's not really for me.
Okay.
But I watched all 10 episodes.
I'm really happy you watched all the episodes, man.
Buddy,
and you got into the video game.
I gave it my best.
Man, that is I commend you, my friend. I really appreciate that.
The gunplay in the game is weird. I don't love it.
Well, I mean, you can get tech weapons, so they have homing bullets.
Don't come at me with tech weapons.
It's stuff where you don't really have to aim down sights. Is something I would say. Something that
it probably says a lot about me. So when I get done with this, I was literally, when my trial ran out, I had stolen someone's motorcycle, because driving a motorcycle is just fucking fun.
Yeah.
And I got into a fight with the cops, and I had like a shotgun and stuff, and I was actually kind of loaded up. Like, when I got logged into my PlayStation, it says you have 30 minutes left on your trial. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to fuck around. Like, I'm not going to try to do another mission.
GTA,
something like that.
A little bit.
Exactly, like GTA. And I'm having fun, and it's just like a big shootout, and then my thing I keep getting shorted out, and it says like, oh, someone's trying to hack you, and it's got like the laser thing, and there was so much, and then I died, and then I was just like, I'm not going to play Red Dead Redemption, because it's so much. I like being a cowboy a lot more than I like being a cyberpunk. Which, I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, brother.
I'd rather be just wide open
man.
waiting with my gun to shoot a perfect deer and get a perfect pelt and then take it to someone and make a new hat.
Damn.
Just simple pleasures.
Hell yeah, brother.
I like my cowboy games. But I gave it a try.
You did, man, and that is so great.
I appreciate the rec. Now I can definitely know Cyberpunk is not.
Now we both know.
Not for me.
So because they just announced that they're doing another anime, Cyberpunk.
Won't be watching it.
And you're not interested. I'm interested.
Right.
I'm hoping it's Trigger again. I want to tell you, I got interested in Trigger after this.
This is the animation studio?
Yes.
Are they? They're Japanese. It's not like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they did Kill a Kill, which is a very popular one. I haven't seen it yet.
Fun name.
I'm interested in it. But they also did a 11-minute short called Sex and Violence with Mach Speed. And I watched that.
It's the most Japanese name for anything.
It's a character named Sex, a character named Violence, and a character named Mach Speed. Mach Speed is a detective who has a girlfriend named Sex, who is a blow-up doll, and Violence, who is a monkey
of course,
friend that helps him out. When Mach Speed gets mad, he grows a horn that shoots out into Violence's butt, and that makes him go ape mode and just like kills things.
Okay.
It's so good.
It's
so funny.
Can I tell you this? There's no way I would like that.
Mach Speed is detective, right?
Yeah.
Guy walks in to get to acquire his services.
If the word horn goes into your butt is later on in this story, you should stop telling it.
It's even better. Watch.
Oh,
so he tells Sex to go get the tea, and Sex comes back. She trips, ends up accidentally having sex with the guy to completion.
Why?
Because she's a blow-up doll.
See, this is what the anime I don't like it.
Anyway, they were like, "I'm so sorry that happened. Please tell me what you're here for, and we can help you." It was like, "Well, I'm here to lose my virginity."
Okay, that's a funny bit.
Right? That was a good bit.
All right. Well, we're done.
Trigger has got good animation and great humor. That's what I want to say.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This will be out shortly thereafter, but I want to thank Jimmy for doing all of our artwork. I want to thank our buddies Brother Bill. You can check them out, brotherbill.bandcamp.com for their theme song. Go listen to their album, do everything like that. Oh, yeah. Let's find out. If you want to get in contact with the show, send us an email, upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Let's find out what we're going to be talking about next week. Jake, what do you got, buddy?
Let's start getting spooky.
All right. It's October.
So it's going to be a video game, but you're not going to play it. You're going to watch a video playthrough from a guy called Manly Badass Hero.
Okay.
He has a video up for his playthrough of mouthwashing that we just talked about.
Oh, really?
I think this will be an optimal way for you to enjoy it.
Because How Fish is Made is not really something you had to play. I think you could watch someone play that.
Yeah.
And kind of do the same thing.
This is the vibes that I was picking up. Yeah. And the way that this game is, I think you're going to enjoy what it is. Mm-hmm. It's very spooky.
How long is the playthrough?
2.5 hours.
Okay.
And I was like...
It's like a movie.
Yeah. It's just like a good movie. So there you go. You're going to watch mouthwashing.
All right.
Manly Badass Hero.
I have a movie for you. It's just a nice movie. Popped up. It was released just this week. Amazon Original. It's one of those things that I was talking about that just would have been out in theaters a couple years ago, but now it's just a small movie, so they just put it on Amazon. It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Richard Madden, and Shailene Woodley. Richard Madden was in Game of Thrones. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just awesome. Shailene Woodley from Fault in Our Stars and the Divergent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was like, Shailene Woodley was in it. It's called Killer Heat.
Okay.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a detective who gets hired by Shailene Woodley, whose husband just died. Or no, whose brother-in-law just died. And she comes from a very rich Greek family, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's kind of just like a no-nonsense detective with a dark past. He's a private eye. It kind of reminds me of what's the shit you had me watch? Long Goodbye.
Ooh.
It's got very Long Goodbye vibes, but it's set on a Greek island. It's not... It's one of those... I'll say this is a detective movie like Under Paris is a shark movie. If you like this type of movie...
I do.
You're going to like it.
That's great.
It's just a good...
What was that BJ Novak one? Vengeance?
Vengeance, yeah. The podcast thing.
Yeah.
Similar vibes to that.
Good.
Yeah.
Because that was a very surprisingly good movie.
Just a good mystery movie. It's like 2 hours long, and it's just like, this is a good, and it also strikes me as a movie. It's like, let's get a couple tax write-offs and go to Greece for a couple weeks and just film this gorgeous movie.
You do you, baby.
Yeah. It's just a fun movie. It's Killer Heat that is on Amazon, I'm going to watch the play. I'm assuming this is a YouTube to watch the playthrough. What was the guy's name?
Manly Badass Hero.
Manly Badass Heroes playthrough of Mouthwash. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Jake, thanks for coming over, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
I love you. See you next time.
Love you.